Good morning, I'm Dr. Warren Bruhl, CEO of Percussion Fitness, and I'm in my home gym here and I'm about ready to start a workout. It's 5:10 in the morning and I'm using my BuffEnuff power massager for a pre-workout recovery session. Research has shown that using massage and vibration before a workout is better actually than afterwards. It's good afterwards, but if you do it before, you're improving your circulation, you're warming up your muscles, you're preparing them for your exercise. And it's sort of like a symphony orchestra. It's getting all of your muscles in tune. And if you've ever gone to a symphony orchestra or you've heard an a cappella group, there is always someone who's using an instrument to tune the other instruments to their note. And so basically, the BuffEnuff becomes the tuner for all of your muscles so they all resonate at the same frequency, and it increases the circulation. In our research that we did with thermography studies, we found that it increases temperature anywhere between 1 and 5 degrees in various tissues of the body, and that's because it's improving the circulation. We applied the BuffEnuff power massager for 3 minutes in various regions of the body and found that there was a rapid increase in temperature because there was improvements in blood circulation and lymph circulation. But we also found that that was sustained for up to an hour after the session had been completed using the BuffEnuff power massager. When you use your BuffEnuff power massager, of course, realize that there are multiple contacts that you can use with it, all right? We've got a T-handle up at the top right here that's easy to hold in different ways. You can also hold it by the battery. And so while it may seem like the battery makes it bulky, it actually becomes an extra hold. And of course you have the trigger to hold it by as well. And also you can put your hands on top of the cap or around the bezel right over the rotating pad area and use applying pressures that way. So there's lots of ways to hold it. Also, you usually don't have to hold it real tightly because the weight of the device and the movements of it virtually do all of the work on its own. So when you're using it, you want to think in terms of flat contact, tilt contact, and edge. Flat will be the easiest and gentlest contact. Tilt will be a little bit deeper, and then edge will be much deeper, of course. The other thing that makes the BuffEnuff power massager awesome is the fact that it's cordless. So it has this easy to take on and off battery. You just squeeze the battery on the side. There's little push areas. And when you squeeze them, it just pushes it in and brings it out just like that. And then you plug in a socket right on top, plug it into your outlet, and in about 20 to 30 minutes, it'll charge itself back up, and then you'll get between 30 and 45 minutes of powerful oscillating healing movements through the BuffEnuff power massager. It generates 3,300 RPMs of healing movement through here. It's one of the most powerful percussion massagers on the market. It's also one of the most affordable as well. Priced half of a lot of the competition that's out there, and actually better quality. I mean, it just really holds up to the rigors of intense workout type of individuals as well as everyday consumers, and it's also being used in the clinical market by doctors, physical therapists, surgeons, etc. So it's a phenomenal product, and it's gaining a lot of influencers that believe in it and are using it. So for this morning workout, we're going to start off by turning the buffer on, and I'm going to be using flat contact, and I'm just going to start off with some wrapping technique. Wrapping is just like it looks. We're wrapping the buffer around the body in different areas, wrapping as much surface area as we possibly can. You saw I just switched over. I'm holding the T-handle now. Now when I get to the back, I'm going to move a little closer here. I'm going to hold the buffer by the T-handle and by the battery. You can see that I move a little closer. And I'm going to wrap again, but now I'm going to introduce some motion. I'm going to go down and back, down and back. Anytime you move your body in a range of motion, this is called hinging. So we're going to increase that hinge going down and back each time. Now I can also do a hinging motion laterally, so I can bend sideways with the buffer, right? I can move the hips side to side. So I could move my hips just like this, warming up the obliques. Getting up into the neck, you can generally just take the buffer and just let it rest there. I'm holding it by the battery right now here, and it's resting. And I can take the buffer and set it over my shoulder and bring it right over with the edge, just like that. I can even take it and hold it by the battery and use it up and down the back, just like this. Take the tilted side, I'm just going to scoop into the neck like that. Same thing on the other side. Hold it. Now, to get the lower half of the body, I'm going to move this camera down just a tad here so that you can see the lower half here. All right, we're going to take the buffer up and down the thigh, front thigh, shin, calf, hamstring. I'm going to take it on the tilted side, hold it by the bezel right there, and bring it down the IT band. Really important. Down the quad. This is called clearing, so I've got a tilted contact, and I'm moving it right down the tissue, just like that. You can do that also on shin. Now for the adductors, what I recommend is bringing your legs about shoulder width apart and just taking the buffer and running it right down the side of the adductors. You can even take it and squeeze your legs onto the buffer. Same thing with the inner part of the calf. Just take the buffer and run it down the side of it, just like this. And again, the advantage of not having any cords is you don't have any cords to get in the way. Now I'm going to put the flat end of the buffer right on the kneecap and just bend the knees back and forth, moving it to different parts of the knee to warm the knee up. A lot of knee problems happen, obviously, with physical fitness, a lot of Achilles problems. So for the Achilles, let's warm those Achilles up really well. Let's take that buffer right in here into the back of that Achilles tendon and move the foot while we do it. And of course, you could sit down to do this. I'm doing this standing because of the video, so I'm getting the extra benefit of balance at the same time. Now, another really cool thing, I'm going to move back here a little bit. I'm going to put the buffer with the flat surface right on top of the foot and push down and bring it into the ankle right here. So turn sideways, you can see the buffer is right there into the ankle, and I'm going to bend forward and back while I do it. Another hinging motion. Great for the Achilles tendon. Right on that Achilles. Now tendons generally like little jumping movements, so you want to take the edge of the buffer and just jump up and down it. Stimulating that reflex that's in tendons. You get a reflex also in the knee. Into the doctor, they do those knee reflex things. You can actually feel your knee kind of jumping a little bit. That's called jumping. We use little jumping motions. Come on that side. Come back here, we're gonna do some jumping. All right, now I'm just gonna bring this camera back up again so I got you on top. There we go. And we'll finish off with a little bit of core work. Get into those glutes just a little bit, edge. Hip flexors, oh man, this is great for the hip flexors. So you take the buffer and you place it right along the hip like this, so the edge is going right into the front of the hip flexor. You just pull it right in. So I've got my hand on the edge of the bevel, I'm pulling it into the hip flexor and rotating it and moving it just along that hip flexor area. And of course, I could also take the buffer and put on the back and do some leg kicks. So I'm stretching my back this way, stretching the hamstring and the lower half of the body. And I could even be moving like this. I could be moving along the area. I can do jumping motions, side to side. Again, because it's so functional, shoulder warm up, Arm up overhead, get underneath the arm. Now if you use the buffer simultaneously with another tool like a roller, you can use it with a roller simultaneously. The roller could be underneath your thigh, buffer could be on top, vice versa, all right, etc. like that. Be on the lower back, on the floor, be using the buffer on the hip flexors, could be on the upper back. You can use it with exercise bands as well. So you could have exercise bands and be doing shoulder exercises, different directions, and have the buffer warming up, which is awesome, especially when you have baseball players, for pitchers. Lots of motions they can be doing, warming up these really intricate muscles in the shoulder and the hands and the forearm that get stressed with throwing baseballs. And by using the BuffEnuff before, research has shown that if you use massage and vibration before exercise, there's a better result in terms of recovery than just using it afterwards. It's great to use it afterwards, but use it before for sure, and then definitely use it afterwards. All right, so that gives you some insight on things you can do before a workout. Take the BuffEnuff with you to the gym, use it in your home gym, take it to the athletic field, sports games, take it to the track, pack it. It's easy to pack. And take it with you when you travel. Take it on car trips so that you can get out of the car and stretch your back out. Office workers, people sitting at desks. There's virtually no place that this tool is not useful to use. And I just got back from Africa. I do a lot of international charity work there. I'm a director for a nonprofit called Dreamweaver International. And I operate a school that's in Kenya, right in the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. So when I get up every morning, I literally look at Mount Kilimanjaro like it's a postcard. We have 300 students in our school, and they're all little healers. They love to use this tool on one another. It's very easy to teach. We donated one to an orphanage while we were there so that the workers of the orphanage have a tool to work on themselves for body stress, but also to work with the children. And we provide a certain percentage of our sales to help under-resourced populations. We subsidize the purchase of these units so they can use them to manage pain, because in most of these places in the world, Africa, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, Mexico, areas where there's a lot of poverty, even in our areas here in America, the healthcare is very inadequate, and most of the people are working very hard physical labor jobs, and they don't have anything to manage pain other than taking pills. And that's a problem that'll end up killing them, because just taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs actually leads often to gastrointestinal bleeding. And so when somebody becomes reliant on that rather than managing pain with a natural way, it can actually kill them. So we look at this tool as a lifesaver, and the people that use it around the world, they love it. And that's why we say that we help you to be fit, be flexible, and be ready, and we're equipping the world to heal. So I'm gonna get on with my workout. I want to thank you for your time today. Take care, be well, God bless.